I decided to start a new franchise mode because my old zoo was getting so big, my computer was starting to have issues running it. So I created a new franchise zoo in hard mode. The first animal habitat I'll be building will be the penguin habitat, as you already saw on the intro. Because I started the zoo in franchise mode, I don't have any of the items unlocked yet, so we kind of have to work with what we have. But let's get into it. Bye. So here we are in the speed build. I'm just starting off with the staff building because I started a new game in franchise mode and we need the staff buildings first, obviously, to be able to do anything else. I'm just trying to kinda imitate the style they have in the tutorial for the Arctic pack. I actually bought the Arctic pack just for this zoo specifically. I want to go into like a cabin village sort of style, but because I started this in franchise mode, there's only so many pieces we can use, so I'm just trying to work with what we have to make something resembling a cabin, and also obviously with the limited money that we have, just with the pieces that we have unlocked in the beginning, I'm trying to like put in as much detail as I can, finishing off these like edges right here with these wooden columns. I end up using the wooden columns a lot just because that's pretty much the only detail we have right now unlocked that kinda fits the style. I was actually afraid that all the staff buildings wouldn't fit into that cabin after I built it, but luckily I was able to put everything in. Also, I struggled a lot with the pathing. Anyone who's played Planet Zoo knows that paths in this game is a nightmare. There I was trying to fit different fences into the build, but I didn't like any of them, so I just ended up making my own with those wooden columns again, trying out details, see what I like, adding some more details until I'm happy with it. I'm also happy about how the windows turned out. With the limited window options that we have, I ended up combining these 4 of these base game windows. That ends up imitating the style that I'm going for well. Here I'm just building the roof. I want a covered patio as well, and as I'm building the roof I realize with the limited pitch options that we have, this pitch isn't actually high enough for that patio roof to merge into it, so here I'm switching it out for a higher pitch roof at the other sections of the house. I really like how the snow looks on the world right here. That's why I wanted to like buy the Arctic DLC and start a zoo in the like tundra biome, because I just love the like snowy landscape, and it doesn't matter as much that we have limited roof options because it's covered in snow anyway. It ends up looking nice no matter what roof you use. And those details on top of the roofs, for some reason, we don't have the higher pitch version of it, so I just end up using the like lower pitch one. Maybe I just couldn't find it. I don't know, let me know if you know there is one, then I'll go back and change it. Here I'm just adding some more details onto it so it just doesn't look like a giant empty wall at the sides. I do also put some windows there to break up the empty wall a little bit. And I want to put these concrete pieces inside of the building. I know it wastes a lot of money, but I don't see it as waste because you can see through these like wooden pieces, wooden wall pieces and such. So I just don't want you to be able to see inside the building because it's just filled with ugly staff building. Here when I moved it, I noticed, oh no, I can't move the path, which is kind of weird. I think they should add it into the game, because if you like download builds from the workshop, etc., you have to like put the custom paths in yourself, which I have to do. Like even if you just put a blueprint in from like what's already in the game, I haven't been able to use those ever because the pathing is just impossible. But here I finally started building the actual habitat for the penguins. I'm building a bridge here so that the guests can kind of look over the penguins. Usually when I decide path for bridges, I go with the path that I like the railing on the most. Well, it's snow anyway, you can't see the path, so I like the option I went with the wooden railing. There I created a mountain because I built a pool like below the bridge, so there's an underwater viewing area, and the penguins are able to like actually climb into the pool somehow. I'm creating this bridge from that hill to the pool, so the penguins can like walk inside the bridge. That's glass, as you can see, and the like guests will be walking beneath the penguins as they cross the bridge and can actually see them waddling over, which is super cute. I like how the bridge turned out with the very limited build options I have. I'm just trying to kind of hide the rough edges on these glass pieces with these like wooden columns. The glass pieces in the beginning of the game, when you haven't unlocked anything yet, they're pretty ugly, so I'm just trying to make it look as nice as possible, and I think it ends up looking very good once we get it working. That is, here I'm using that billboard as like a measure how high I want the bridge to be, and here I'm just layering this one piece that I built, multiplying it to create a bridge across the whole thing. And I'm testing if the penguins can actually walk in it, which they can't. And I'm just trying to figure out why. I am deleting all these wooden pieces, trying to see if they can walk under it. I just give up, move it aside again. Then I tried just placing it on the ground to see if the penguins can walk through it, which they can, so so I tried again. I'm thinking maybe it was too deep of a slope for the penguins to walk in, which it wasn't. So then I'm thinking maybe it's too narrow, which it was. So I just make it wider here and do the bridge all over again, and then see if they can walk in, which they can just fine. So I'm just finishing off that edge right there and building the rest of the bridge, like all the way into the water. It's a shame they can't like jump into the water from there, but then again, they'd have to be able to get back anyway, so I guess it really doesn't matter. There's no way I could like build an exit from the water somewhere else, I don't think. At least I couldn't figure it out. There I'm just adding the necessary stuff, like so the penguins don't get stressed. The like keep quiet signs and do not feed, so they don't get sick and stuff. And here I'm adding the rocks into the bridge because the terrain tools are kind of limited in that you can't raised terrain under a path, so I'm just finishing that off with these rocks. I really like the rocks from the aquatic pack, so I just put them all around, so the bridge kind of looks like it merges into the hill. And that was a perfect opportunity to also get the shelter for the penguins under the path, which I put the archway there. The plants were a struggle to try and get right. The penguins really don't like a lot of plants, so that requires a lot of fiddling around to like balance, trying to make the habitat look nice and also making the penguins happy. I'm also adding some enrichment items because I'm building this in franchise mode instead of sandbox. I have to balance some things like money and the animal happiness as well, not just making the habitat look nice. Here I'm adding some plants into the underwater viewing area as well. I also want that to look nice, while the penguins are happy, of course. And here I'm building the main entrance area. I really like how that turned out, especially at night. That Christmas tree looks really nice at night when the lights light up. Again, I'm trying to imitate the style they have in the Arctic Pack's trailer, with the like lights hanging above the square and stuff. And I also am inspired by the Santa Claus village in Rovaniemi. Here I found out you can actually recolor those concrete pieces I use inside the wooden building, so I do that just to add a bit more dimension. I was too lazy to go back and recolor the previous ones though. I keep the designs on these huts pretty simple because of limited money, of course. Oh, I also added the exhibit animal. I think there's a turtle in there at the edge of this square, but I cut out building that first of all because I don't think it looks too interesting, and also this speed build is already pretty long, so I just cut some things out, like maintenance and stuff, like hiring people and such. And I really like how you're able to like pull a build together just with plants. I was gonna cut out placing the plants from this speed build just because, well, it's just placing plants. But then I find placing plants really therapeutic, and I just love the end result. Like every time you place plants, it just makes the build look that much nicer. I also add some flowers. I like the white flowers in this tundra biome, so I add those under the tree just to give it a bit more oomph. And I'm also finishing the edges on these huts right here, just to give a bit more detail. It doesn't have that much. I am researching the like Arctic build style, so I can start making my builds look nicer soon. And also I cut it out from the speed build, but I do some like I said, maintaining like basic gameplay stuff in the middle of the speed build that I cut out. So at some point I will finish the research on the Arctic stuff, so I'm actually able to add the lights in and stuff. And I'm also researching the penguins, so that duck is so cute. Yeah, I researched the penguins, so I just give them a bit more stuff here and there while I research. And I thought that like water space was looking really empty, so I wanted to add something there this is where the struggle comes in, and I'm trying to like balance what the penguins like with like making the habitat look as nice as possible. I'm just like one more plant and they'd be unhappy. I also noticed that they weren't diving for the fish, because there's the underwater diving area that has the enrichment, the feeding enrichment, but they weren't using it. I end up fixing that later. Here I unlocked the lights finally. I placed them above this square right here. The lights were a nightmare to work with. I cut it out of this speed build because it was just such a struggle. I didn't want you to hear I cut it out. When I was trying to select the lights, it like I couldn't click on them, so I just had to like paint over them, unselect everything around them, and then like move it. It was a real struggle. Here I am moving the star by accident also, but I'm just like, whatever, I'm not going through that hell again, so I'll just delete the star later. But I think it's all worth it. It's becoming nighttime now. You can like see they're starting to light up and it ends up looking so pretty. And here I realize, oh, all the struggle was worth it as I'm adding the final lights. And like just there, I was just sitting for a moment admiring the thing that I did there. And here, because I hate myself, I also want to add the lights that are a nightmare to work with on this fence. But then they weren't snapping to the fence, so I end up scrapping that idea. I just end up placing these candles instead, because I don't hate myself that much. I'm probably gonna later, when I unlock more stuff, I'm probably gonna replace these candles with lanterns instead, because just having candles there isn't very realistic. If it rains, they would go out and stuff, and it would be too cold for candles anyway in that biome. But because franchise, not sandbox, that's what I end up going with, and I'll probably replace them later in a future video. And here I'm finally investigating like why the fish isn't working. And I remember another YouTuber saying that some animals require at least 4 meters of water to be able to dive. So I just raise up the fence and then see if it works. And it does end up working. That's a tip for you as well later. If you notice your animals aren't diving, just try to make the water deeper. And here I realized that why the lights were a nightmare to work with was actually because of the Christmas tree. I just had to move it out of the way and then it worked fine. But here we are in real time. I'm just showing off what I've done. I think it turned out super cute, especially the bridge view area. I love that. I was able to make it working. And here we see the underwater feeding actually working, the penguin diving for it. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know if in future videos you'd like to see more speed builds or actually real-time gameplay. If you want to see more of this too, don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to see you all soon.